Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we unpack the hidden stories in corporate filings. Get ready because today we're diving into a bit of a financial puzzle that might have investors scratching their heads. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty, if you find value in breaking down complex financial documents into plain English, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And hey, join our Discord community for even more insights. The link is in the description below. Alright, so what we've got here is a current report from Beeline Holdings Incorporated, filed on the 28th of October, but detailing an event that happened earlier on the 22nd of October 2025. Now, to the untrained eye, this might seem like just another filing, but let's peel back the layers and see what Beeline Holdings is really telling us. The most interesting part of this report is about a deal, or rather an agreement to potentially make a deal. Beeline Holdings Incorporated, which we'll call the company from now on, entered into a letter agreement with two investors. Now, these investors were holding something called Series E preferred stock. Think of preferred stock like a special kind of stock that comes with certain rights, often related to getting paid back money before common stockholders. In this case, the agreement is about the investors agreeing to give back their Series E shares in exchange for cash. But here is where it gets a little complicated, and frankly, a bit uncertain for the company. This cash payment to the investors is tied to something called the effectiveness of a registration statement on Form S-1. That sounds super technical, right? What it essentially means is the company is trying to get approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, to potentially sell more shares or offer some kind of equity. This S-1 filing is a big step in that process, especially if they are looking to raise money through something like an equity line of credit facility. The payment was supposed to happen no later than the 13th of November 2025. However, the agreement has a built-in escape clause, or more accurately, a what-if scenario. If the SE staff, the people who review these filings, starts asking questions, wants more time to look at it, or even requests that the effectiveness of the S-1 be delayed, then things change on the 13th of November. On that date, the 13th of November, the investors get to make a choice. They can either say, you know what, this S-1 thing is getting complicated, we're just going to stick with our Series E shares and convert them as originally planned, or they can choose to still get their cash payment, but the deadline for that payment gets pushed all the way to the 1st of December. 2025. On top of this potential delay and uncertainty, if the SEC causes this situation, the company also has to pay these investors an extra $100,000. This isn't a penalty payment, it is more like a premium for the inconvenience, and the added risk the investors are taking on because the S-1 process is taking longer than expected. So, it is a way for Beeline Holdings to appease its investors and keep them on board, even if the regulatory wheels are turning slowly. This letter agreement, filed as Exhibit 10.1, is the key document spelling out these terms. It is important because it shows how Beeline Holdings is managing its relationships with its investors, especially when it comes to crucial financing activities like securing an equity line of credit. Now, this filing itself doesn't contain detailed financial statements for the quarter or year. It is a current report, meaning it is for specific, usually time-sensitive events. The exhibits section tells us what other documents are attached. We see the letter agreement we just discussed, and then there is a standard item called Cover Page Interactive Data File, which is just digital formatting for regulatory purposes. And finally, we have the signature, signed by Nicholas R. Loser Jr., who is the Chief Executive Officer. This is standard practice, confirming that the report is official. Now, let's put on our analyst hats and look at what this filing signals. Beeline Holdings Incorporated is in a situation where its ability to pay back certain investors is directly linked to its success in navigating the SEC's approval process for a new financing initiative. This creates a clear dependency and introduces a layer of risk. The fact that they've agreed to pay a premium if the SEC causes delays is a smart move to maintain investor confidence. It shows they understand the importance of predictability for their investors. However, the core issue remains the S-1 filing. If it gets significantly delayed or encounters major roadblocks, Beeline Holdings might have to scramble to find alternative ways to meet its obligations, or risk having those investors revert to their original preferred stock terms, which might not be what the company wants in the long run. Looking at the broader picture, this filing suggests Beeline Holdings is actively pursuing growth financing. Likely through an equity line, this is a common strategy for companies looking to expand, but it requires careful management of investor expectations and regulatory hurdles. The agreement shows a proactive approach to managing these dependencies. In conclusion, Beeline Holdings Incorporated is trying to do something positive here, lining up financing that could fuel their future growth. However, their current path is subject to the often unpredictable timelines of the CC. The key takeaway is not about complex profit numbers here, but about strategic maneuvering and risk management. They are betting on a smooth S-1 process, and the investors have some protection if that bet doesn't pay off on time. It's a dance between ambition and regulatory reality. What do you think about Beeline Holdings' strategy here? Does this S-1 dependency worry you, or is it standard practice in their industry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and remember to subscribe for more corporate insights also. Join our Discord community, linked in the description, for more discussions and direct access. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.